My name is Josh. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I am one of 3 chaplains in the Black Tulip Chorale. As a chaplain in a small hospital, I witness about 1 to 2 deaths per week. So in 5 years as a chaplain, I've witnessed hundreds of people take their last breaths. And despite how dark or strange some people may find this, being present with patients and their families at the time of death is my favorite part of being a chaplain. After all, other than birth, death is the one human experience we all share, even if it's only our own death. And because we spend our career accompanying grief while carrying our own, to be a chaplain takes emotional resiliency, spiritual maturity, personal reflection, and deep self-awareness. And yet, chaplains are still human. There are some patients we struggle to let go of, because it's those patients who teach you something about yourself that you're afraid to confront. One such patient was Ryan Anthony. Yes, that's his actual name. Ryan's wife graciously granted me permission to speak openly about Ryan today, so I'm not violating HIPAA. I first met Ryan in the last fall. Ryan was a 47-year-old jazz musician and composer who moved to St. Louis last spring with his wife, ready for a fresh start after 20 years in Phoenix. A few months later, that would all change when Ryan noticed that he was more winded than usual after his walk. An appointment with his primary care physician led to tests, resulting in a terminal diagnosis of stage 4 lung cancer with mets to the liver and bones. Ryan never smoked a day in his life. The first time we spoke, I asked Ryan the same questions I ask all my patients. And while hesitant at first, Ryan began to share all of his questions and his feelings aloud. His shock, anger, and grief about this happening, his disbelief about how this could happen, his questioning about why this happened, his wondering about what all this means. He had a dry sense of humor and a smirk that seemed to laugh in the face of death. At the end of our first 2-hour-long conversation, Ryan said to me, "You know, I really hate you and really appreciate you right now. That's not what I wanted to talk about, but damn, it feels good to say it out loud. Could you come back so we could talk some more?" We discussed many things over his many hospitalizations. What happens after we die? When should he change his code status to DNR? How do you forgive yourself? What feels unfinished? What's been left unspoken? When's the right time to start hospice? During one of our last conversations, I asked Ryan what he had learned from his experience of dying. The words he shared have stayed with me. Ryan said, "I've learned that everything I always wanted, I always had. And I've learned that if love could save me, I would live forever." Ryan eventually chose hospice, and I saw him one last time at the end of my shift on a cold Friday afternoon in January, where he said to me, "You know, I really appreciated our conversations. It's given me a lot of peace with all of this. And I'd like to think that if we met under different circumstances, we would have been good friends. But then again, you might be a total asshole outside the hospital." We both laughed through our tears, knowing this would be the last time that we saw each other, at least on this side of the veil. Ryan died that weekend in the hospital. His wife later told me he even had one of his usual smirks as he took his last breath. I regret that I was not the chaplain present at his death, but that's how a chaplain's work goes sometimes. In the weeks that followed, I felt this uneasiness within my soul, and I soon realized I was grieving Ryan's death. I felt sadness about patients before, but this was the first time I truly felt grief. It felt strange. It felt unprofessional. I barely knew the guy outside our conversations. Usually I can process and release my feelings, but I couldn't shake this feeling of grief. I realized Ryan was trying to teach me something I needed to learn about myself. And Ryan's words guided my reflection so I would feel something emotionally I only ever knew intellectually. Ryan helped me emotionally confront the frightening reality of my own death. Everything I ever wanted, I already had. Not just gratitude for what I already have, but also gratitude for all the struggles along the way. Because the struggles, challenges, and difficulties give life a depth and a density I wouldn't experience any other way. I've always known this in my mind, but now I finally felt it in my heart, in my soul. If love could save me, I would live forever. For the first time, I felt just how truly loved I am. And while the love of my family and friends won't stop me from dying, their love gives meaning to my life now. For love brings life into existence, makes life sacred, makes life meaningful. And what's most important at the end of our lives is not if there is life after death, but did we truly live before we die? Something I always believed but never felt until I met Ryan. Thank you, Ryan, for this gift. Because the majority of people don't know what happens to the body in the dying process, I often share this booklet titled Gone From My Sight that teaches what to expect as someone dies. The booklet's title comes from a poem written by Henry Van Dyke, and I would like to share that poem with you now. I am standing upon the seashore. A ship at my side spreads her white sails to the morning breeze and starts for the blue ocean. She is an object of beauty and strength. I stand and watch her until at length she hangs like a speck of white cloud just where the sea and the sky come to mingle with each other. Then someone at my side says, "There, she is gone." Gone where? Gone from my sight, that is all. She's just as large and massed and whole and spar as she was when she left my side, and she is just as able to bear the load of living freight to her destined port. Her diminished size is in me, not her. And just at that moment, when someone at my side says, "There, she is gone," there are other eyes watching her coming, and other voices ready to take up the glad shout, "Here she comes."